Hey everyone, it's Sam here and I am taking part in the Craft Stash. It's like the tools hop, I think this one's called. Creative Craft Products recently launched, well, it was right at the end of last year, 12 new tools. We all got sent them, so the co-brands and the design team, and we just get to use them and enjoy them. And then they asked us if we'd like to join this hop and to show you them in a bit more detail. So between me and the others, which will all be linked below, I think you're going to see a lot of the tools being used. But if you are new, I do have a video where I show you them all. I'll link it up here so you can go and have a little look there. I did make this card, which is on my Made to Surprise YouTube channel as part of this hop, and this is using the rotating stamping platform, so you'll see how I use that to make this card. To sit alongside this hop, there is a fantastic competition and you can win one of each of the 12 new tools. All you need to do is make sure you're subscribed to the Craft Stash channel. You need to comment on this video and all of the other ones in the hop, subscribe to all of the people that are taking part, subscribe to the Craft Stash newsletter, make sure you're on their Facebook page, just share the love basically, and then I'm not sure how they're doing it, but they will announce the winner. I'll have all the details, everything will be linked below, so just click down there. Also, if you're a VIP member, you get 10% off, so you can enjoy some extra discount on top as well. When I was sharing all of the tools, I was talking through them all, and this one here I thought would be quite handy for fussy cutting. I think it's going to be really good for soft crafts as well. I think if you're cutting, you know, all your fat quarters and fabrics, I'm not into it that much, so I don't really know all the right terminology, but it's this great self-healing mat on this rotating mat. I actually think it's a really good lazy Susan as well. So if you've got any kind of like tool, you know, you've got all your tools. I could put my pencils on here, I could have my, you know, sharpener, my glues, you could have it like that as well, but that's not what it's made for. It is reversible, so self-healing mats are really good. They last a long time, but then when you have worn it out, if you're a heavy user, you can just flip that one back over again. So what I thought I would do is revisit my fussy cutting video. I did one quite a while ago, some years now, it's probably about 3-4 years ago, so I thought I'd revisit it again. I love to fussy cut it. I think people have a love-hate relationship with it, but I thought if I share some of my tips in this video, then some of you may enjoy it. So I've stamped this image here of the cute little dog from my Perky Pooches stamp set. Now, this is one of my older sets. So this is when I did the stamps on their own and then the outline dies were sold separately. So a lot of people will just have the stamp set. So that's why I've chosen this one, but you can buy the dies to cut them out. So I'm just going to cut each one out. And I'm just going to show you 4 different ways and just with little tips in them really on how to get good results, because I always hear people saying they never cut an even border, they just can't do it. So like I said, hopefully I'll be able to share a few tips here. So self-healing mat, and obviously it rotates around, which is why I think it's going to be quite good, because you can move this as you're moving the knife around. So I think I'm going to tape this down as well, because it's rotating. I don't need to move the paper, and that will then, you know, I don't need to worry about that shifting. Make sure you've got a nice sharp cutting knife. That's if you prefer to do it this way. You know, if you've got your scissors, then I'm going to show you that way as well. And then I'm just going to let's start along the bottom here. So it is really easy. This is the first time I'm using it for fussy cutting. So I'm just literally, so I am testing to see how this will work. Now I'm going to kind of follow the shape, but you can come out, you know, a little bit further. And I'm just going to keep moving this around. It is good actually. And I'm not removing the knife. I'm just keeping it in. And then I'm going to come all the way around. I might take it out actually just to get a neater line that way. Now, if you have issues with grip and holding on to things, then this way probably won't work, because you do need to really make sure you're holding on. But if you just don't like fussy cutting, or you don't think you're going to get neat lines, then I actually think this is working quite well. I have got that tool, that knife, that kind of cuts, but it doesn't cut through thick cardstock. This is a 300 GSM, and I'm not having any problems. Now, I've gone out a little bit wider there, so I'm just going to bring that back in. There we go. And I'm not going to come right up into under his ear there. I don't think I need to. Come back down. But the key is that your knife is nice and sharp. If it's blunt, it's going to start pulling and dragging the cardstock. Probably have got a sharper one than this one, but I think that's okay. So I'll just peel this off. There we go. I think that's worked really well. Genuinely, I think that has worked really, really well. And you can see that I've got a pretty even border all the way around. And you can see I have really pushed that knife into this mat. And you can just see a little outline, but the whole idea is that it closes back up again. So you can't feel it at all. You might see it, but you cannot. I can't feel that cut line at all. So that's why it's called a self-healing mat. Okay, so that's the easiest way, I think, to use this. Now, another way, if you're worried that you won't be able to keep that consistency with the frame, we'll get that close. What you can do is if you take a, have I got a black marker? I might have to use this one here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the outline thicker. Now, because I'm not going in around the whiskers and that, I don't need to worry about that area there, but I'm just going to just draw around this. So I've got a much thicker cut line. Again, I'm not really needing to go into these kind of areas, so don't need to worry too much. Okay, and then I'm just going to bring that out even more. In fact, I am going to go in, just colour in. Otherwise you're going to have this white piece. You know, some images you might not be able to do this with. But if it's just like a simple outline, then it's going to work fine. So again, just bringing this out just a little bit bigger. You don't have to bring it out this big, but I just want to give you a good example of what it will look like. What I see a lot of people, you know, kind of say in the comments in my group and on YouTube videos and so on, is they say they can't ever get it right up to the outline. You don't need to cut right up to the outline. I always like to leave a white border. I think it looks quite nice. However, if you do want that black, then this might be a way to do it. So again, you can cut this with scissors if you want, but I'm just using this mat today. Again, I think it is quite handy. And now I don't have to really worry about, you know, how close I am to the image. I can just do more of a bubble cut and have that black outline. I would probably use an alcohol marker. This is just an art pen, so it's giving me those kind of stripes and lines. If you use an alcohol marker, you won't get that. I'm just going to come out a bit wider now because I'm not conscious that I've got to be so close to the image. So I can just do, like I said, more of that bubble cut. So it's just more of just a big curve around the edge of the image. Again, just peel that off. And now you've got this kind of effect. And if you've got any white, if you just get your pen, again, use an alcohol marker. This isn't the best example with this marker, but you can just get rid of any kind of white that you might have there. But if you're someone that wants to cut the image out and you want there to be some kind of consistency, try this. And you could colour it any colour. It doesn't have to be black. I've just used the black because these are black and white images. I'm not colouring them in. But I think if you're doing maybe like lots of donuts, you could do your frames different colours on each of them. But this gives you more of like an ephemera kind of look. And I think that looks really good. So again, you can see side by side, by just bringing out that cut line, it just will overall help you cut it out much easier. So there are a couple of ideas and just how I think this rotating platform will help. I just want to then go on to using your scissors and again, some more tips and tricks with fussy cutting. The key for me and the top tip is I never actually move the scissors. I mean, I open and close them, but it's the cardstock that I'm moving. So again, it was the rotating mat that I was moving because I stuck the image down. It's that same principle when you're cutting it with scissors. This is the hand that I'm going to be moving. This hand will actually stay pretty still. And again, just focus on where you want to be cutting. If you really want to go up to the black line, then I would suggest making it a bit thicker. Like I said, use an alcohol marker and just bring that line out a little bit more. Having a thin line like this, even myself, I'm bound to cut into the image. So you're always better just making that slightly thicker or adding the white, which is what I always do. So with that in mind, you might also want to just cut away any kind of excess, get rid of all that bulk so you haven't got it kind of in your way. Okay. Again, nice sharp scissors. These are little Snips. These are tonic. They're the titanium ones. I've had these for years. I really like these. I've also had the X-Cut ones. These ones here. These are really good. But you want ones that have that nice point on the end. You can also use, I find, these scissors here are pretty good. And there's a smaller size, which would probably be perfect. I don't have them. I've got this size. But again, they have that real kind of point on the end, which is what you want. So just start off at the easiest point, and you can see my left hand is the one that's moving. All I'm doing with the scissors, didn't say that very well, is just moving them or opening and closing them. It's this left hand that's moving. If you're doing all this and getting, you know, it's just too much going on. My arms are rested on my desk and I'm just focusing on the thickness of my white. That is where I'm kind of looking. Again, I'm not going to go into all that area there. I don't think you need to, unless you're applying it to like something that's got a background and you want bits of that to come through, then you'd maybe want to get in there. But that's where I'd probably use a cutting knife to get into those smaller areas. And by just focusing on the frame that I want to give, and it's just this left hand that's moving, if you just practice, it's actually quite an easy thing to do. There you go. So you can see the one with the cutting knife and the one that I've done by hand pretty much look exactly the same. And then again, I will just colour in. Let me just find my black marker just so I can get a better outline. Okay, I've got this Arteza Noir. So I'm just again going to go around and just put in a slightly thicker frame. Okay, so you can see now I've got a much more of a solid black line there. So this way, like I said, is just if you prefer cutting right to the outline of your stamped image. So again, I'm going to take my scissors, always go slow with this as well, don't rush your way through. And then I've just basically now just given myself more of I've got more room for error. So if I do dip in a bit closer, it's not going to matter and I'm still going to have that black border. I'm going to have a slightly thinner one now than I did on that other one, just to show you, you know, how they look side by side. I can go in a little bit further here. And another thing as well is I've always got my scissors slightly angled so I can see exactly where I'm cutting. I haven't got them straight like this. I've got them off to the side so I can see my blades. I can see exactly where they're cutting and how close I'm getting to my image. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is pop it back on here because this is where I think this will come in handy for me, this mat. If I've cut this and I didn't have the dies and I wanted to get rid of that black kind of space inside, this is where the mat I think is going to come in really handy. I'm just going to cut around this tail. You can be pretty precise as well with this, with, you know, having it on the mat, which I think is quite nice. I'll just bring that up there. Should be able to just pop. Oh, I haven't cut around here. There we go. There we go. Take that off like so. And then again, if you wanted to, you can just take your black, I've got a bit of white there, get rid of that, and just go around the edges. And even with die cut images, this is good to do as well, because, you know, if you have got a thick cardstock, you might not want that white core of the card coming through. So just by running your marker along, just adds a nice bit of dimension to it as well, because it gives it that shadow. And there we go. So I prefer this one because I've used that darker black, this one here. I think would still work if it was darker. I could go and colour this all in. In fact, I'll quickly do that and then I'll be back with them all. Okay, so now I've coloured that in, so I think that gives you a good comparison. So there is really no rule with the size of the border you want when you're cutting your images out. This one, more of that bubble kind of cut, still looks lovely. If that's a big topper, it might be just a simple circle shape that you've cut out by hand. Give yourself that bigger border, colour it in, it's going to make a big difference. Or if you want to get in a little bit more closer to the image, just make that outline just that little bit thicker. And again, you can still achieve a really nice look. And then by giving yourself the white border, again, you know, you could have your white as thick as that. It's still going to look really nice. You don't have to colour it in. I'm just trying to show you just a few ideas and hopefully there's something there for everyone. But yeah, just wanted to kind of show you the rotating mat here. I think it's got quite a few uses. Like I said, I think it's going to be really popular or something that's going to be used more in the soft crafts. And if you've got a digital cutting machine, then you're not even going to have to worry about this video anyway, because the machine will cut your images for you. But I'm hoping that will just help some of you out, and it's nice to revisit those older videos. I will have that other fussy cutting video linked up here as well. It was from, like I said, I think about 3, maybe 4 years ago, so you can have a look over there. I also talk about scissors and how you can sharpen your scissors. I've got that video up as well. So yeah, a few more things to show you. But just going back to today, so all of these tools are available over on the Craft Stash website. There's loads. There's not just the 12 that launched at the end of last year. There's the stamping platform, the trimmer, the scoreboard. We've got blending brushes. There's just so much. So head over there. Like I said, comment on this video, like my channel, all the other channels in the Hop Craft Stash YouTube channel, subscribe to their newsletter, and head over to any socials that you can of theirs and follow them. And you can be in with a chance of winning one of 12. Remember, VIPs, if you want to join our VIP membership, then you can get an extra 10% off many, many purchases. So thank you as always for watching. All of the links that I've gone on about will be in the description box below. Coming up now will be a link to all of the tools here, and I'll also share that other fussy cutting video as well. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.